Good morning, students. Today I'll be teaching you the network techniques. This topic was there in Unit 2. Let us learn together how to construct a network diagram. So before this, let us discuss some basics of network techniques. What is project scheduling? It means the process of laying out all the activities of the project in the time order in which they are to be performed, keeping in view the logical sequence of the activities. So I was giving you example in the class itself. Suppose a project is a construction of a shopping mall. What could be the possible activities involved in the construction of a shopping mall? So we have to dig foundation, we have to pour concrete, we have to start constructing walls, then we have to construct roof, then we have to go for some plumbing work, we can go for some electrical work, then we have to go for some interior, wooden work. So these are the activities performed in a project which is construction of a shopping mall. So when you write down the activities performed in a project with respect to its time but in a logical sequence. What is logical sequence? Logical sequence means maintaining the precedence succeedance relationship. So the activity which is to be performed first should be written first in a project schedule. This is the meaning of project scheduling. So a project may consist of many activities and all the activities consume time, men and material resources. But when we talk about scheduling, this is concerned only with the time resource of the activity. Now, we have some techniques to represent the activities or project scheduling techniques you may call it. So you can make a bar chart or Gantt chart which is the pictorial representation showing the various activities of a project with respect to time. But nowadays we use network based scheduling for bigger projects involving a large number of activities. So we can construct the network diagram. Now what is a network diagram? It is a graphical flow plan of activities that must be accomplished for completing the project. So this is how we construct a network diagram using some arrows and few circles. The network diagram arranges the activities in logical sequence following the precedence succeedence relationship between the activities. And we have two popular network scheduling techniques. We have critical path method and we have program evaluation review technique. Now, what are the difference between CPM and PERT? C class, we use critical path method where the activity time is known with certainty. Like in construction project, we know that how much time an activity is going to take. Like pouring concrete will take let's say 1 or 2 days. So when the activity times are known with certainty, we use critical path method, whereas if the activity times are not known with certainty, we use program evaluation review technique. So PERT we use for more of research and development projects where activity time is not known with certainty. So in the question of PERT, you will be given 3 time estimates: optimistic time, most likely time and pessimistic time. So example is we can use CPM in the construction project, whereas PERT can be used for research and development projects. Now, what are the rules for constructing network diagram? So, first is activity. As you all know, all projects are composed of various operations or tasks which require time and resources to complete. These are known as activities. Each activity of a project is depicted by an arrow, and the name of the activities will be in the alphabetical order. It is never a number. Alright. The length of the arrow does not signify anything, so you can make it small, you can make it big. If the length of the arrow of an activity is big, doesn't mean that this activity is going to take more time. The length does not have any meaning, but each activity has a definite beginning and end. Each activity consumes resources, time, manpower and material. The head of the arrow shows the flow of the activity. So the tail is showing the starting, whereas the head of the arrow is showing the completion of the activity. The circle placed at the beginning of the arrow represents the starting point of the activity, and the circle placed at the completion shows the completion of the activity. Now there are some rules for constructing network diagram. Let us understand what is predecessor activity. So the activity that must be completed immediately prior to the start of another activity are called predecessor activities. So in this case, we cannot start C unless activity B is finished. So it means activity B is the predecessor of activity C. So for example, in case of our project of construction of a shopping mall, activity digging of foundation is the predecessor of pouring concrete. Means we cannot pour concrete unless we dig foundation. Then what is successor activities? For a given activity, the activity that follows immediately after it is called its successor activity. So in this case, activity C is the successor of activity B. Now the activities which can be accomplished at the same time are known as concurrent activities. So activity A and B are finished at the same time, so they are the concurrent activities. Then what is dummy activity? A dummy activity is an imaginary activity included in a network which is required just to maintain the logical sequence. Therefore, because it is not a real activity, it does not consume time, manpower and material resources. And you can check my video on dummy activities to understand the concept and how do we introduce a dummy activity in a network. A dummy is represented by dashed arrow. Then what is an event? An event is the beginning or end of an activity, and it does not consume time, manpower or material resources. They are just a specific point in time and represented by a circle. Events represent beginning or end of an activity. The circle which is placed at the tail side of an activity represents the starting event, whereas the circle which is placed at the completion side represents the completing event. Now, what is the difference between an event and an activity? Actually, activity is represented by an arrow, whereas the events are represented by circles. Activity consumes time, manpower or material resources, whereas events does not consume anything. The activity is the passage of time, whereas the events are just the point of time. For example, if we take the example of an event, how do we represent it? The activity starts at 2 o'clock and it is finished at 4 o'clock. So these are events. Whereas the activity took 2 hours to complete. It means this is the passage of time. Now, what are the network rules? Each activity is represented by one and only one arrow in the network. Therefore, no single activity can be represented twice in the network. So, we will be making only one arrow for one activity. No two activities can have same beginning and end event. So if the beginning is same, their end should be different, and if the end is same, their beginning should be different. If this is the case where two activities are there, they are having the same beginning and end, we have to introduce the concept of dummy to resolve the problem. Otherwise, as per the network rules, this is not allowed. Before an activity can be undertaken, all activities preceding it must be completed. Then only you can start that activity. So before you initiate any activity, the predecessor must be completed before that. The arrows depicting various activities are indicative of the logical precedence only, and the length of the arrow does not have any meaning. So you can make it small, you can make it big, but it should not be curved, should not be bent. Alright, so the length does not have any meaning. The flow of the diagram should always be from left to right, cannot be upward, cannot be downward, cannot be from right to left. It should always be from left to right. So whenever you construct a network, arrow should not be crossed. Arrow should be kept straight, should not be curved or bent. And how do we number an event? So the first circle is always given as number 1. Then the events which are starting from event number 1 can be given 2, 3, 4. This is how you can number. But there is a general rule. The number at the head of an arrow is always larger than its tail. Now the simple diagrams, how can we construct these statements? Activity B cannot start until activity A is completed. So B depends on A. So how we are going to construct it? It means the predecessor of activity A is none, whereas the predecessor of activity B is A. So let us make this diagram. So this is how the predecessor of activity A is none, predecessor of B is A. So first of all, you make the activity for which predecessor is none. So first of all, you make A. Once A is finished, we can start B because the predecessor of B is A. The next statement is activity B and C cannot start until activity A is complete. So how we are going to write it in a problem? The predecessor of activity A is none, predecessor of B is A, and predecessor of C is also A. So you start activity A first. Once A is finished, we can start B and C together, and mind it class, each activities are represented by an arrow. So you make 2 arrows from A, one for B, one for C. So this is how you construct this network. Another statement is activity A and B can occur concurrently, but both must be completed before C can begin. It means two activities can be completed together, so their completion circle is same. So A and B are concurrent activities, and you cannot start C unless both A and B are completed. Another statement is activities A and B both must be completed before C and D can start, but C can begin independent of D and vice versa. So this is how we are going to write it in a problem. The predecessor of A is none, B is none. Once A and B are finished, you can start C and D together. So you can start two independent activities C and D once A and B are finished. Now you can practice some diagram, and please let me know if you find any problem in the construction of the network diagram. Thank you very much.